Here are the top 5 Kokomi teams that you can run. Now before we go into that, there are some few important notes on Kokomi that you should remember when building a team around her. Is that first of all, she is one of the easiest and cheapest character to build around. She's never going to crit, so any crit substats you can take out of her artifacts. She can be built as either a support or a sub DPS. Now if you're going with a full support build, then you can run her with full HP percentage or with an EM stance, because generally Kokomi tends to run in a reaction team. Or if you're into sub DPS, then you can have her as HP on Sand, hydro damage bonus on Goblet, and healing bonus on her Circlet, because her passive talents grants a bit of a boost from healing bonus. Now her main set is the Ocean Clam set. It is made for her, it fits her pretty well in both aesthetic and skills. However, this set is more of a DPS set than a support. Her support set is the 4-piece Tenacity, but I would also recommend you to run this set if you're building a sub DPS Kokomi also, because it still works well for her as her E skill can still be proc, getting her the set bonus buff. It's very efficient for your account overall. Her go-to weapon is the Thrilling Tales of Dragons, as most of the time you'll be having her as a support. Now if you're running her as a sub DPS, then the prototype Ambers works really well. You can craft that in the Mondstadt forging place. You never should try to pull her weapon unless you get it by accident like I do, or if you're a shrimp for Kokomi, because it only fits her and Barbara at this point. Also, when running Kokomi, you should try to cast her E skill in a way that it won't be out of your enemy's range when they move around, because her E cannot be recast until it is over, like Visual's Oz. Having enemies moving away from its AoE means that you're losing out on your Tenacity buff and Hydro application. Plus, even if you're not using Kokomi's burst for DPS, then try to cast it when her E is still on, because it resets its duration. Other than that, she's a really fun character to run. None of your team member will actually die if she is on the team unless you intend to let them die. And her Hydro application is one of the better out of the current Hydro characters option that we have got at this point. With that, let us jump into Kokomi's top team comp. Team number 1 is our Kokomon team featuring Kokomi, Visual, Xiangling, and Sucrose. This is going to be, if not the most meta team for Kokomi at this point in time, and it is there to compete with even some of the other meta teams. However, this is also the most complicated team to run, and the effort that you've got to put into mastering this team rotation and team comp is a lot. But if you're able to go through that, then it can be very fun and a rewarding experience for you, especially if you're someone who loves Kokomi. Now, I won't be able to dive deep into explaining everything regarding theory crafting around this team for you here, but I will have a quick summary of it, in that the team focuses around you dealing a ton of elemental reaction damage together, and it sometimes can be looked at as the most chaotic Genshin Impact team, because you're seeing so many reaction numbers popping up on screen, but it is totally not chaotic, because you've got to run this team in a very strict rotation order if you want to perform it well. We have Kokomi running Thrilling Tales with Tenacity, Visual here on a DPS build with 2-piece Thundering Fury and 2-piece Glad so that Oz can deal a lot of off-field damage. Xiangling is recommended to run a 4-piece emblem set, because you will need a lot of energy recharge on her to get her burst back in time, since we don't have another pyro character to support Xiangling with elemental particles. And finally, Sucrose on a full elemental mastery build with the sacrificial fragment. And then after you've got your build done, then get ready to grind yourself into practicing the rotation, because here it is. And then here's going to be a quick demonstration. Now, this was not invented by me, but it's from a user called Teraflop, and I'll drop the link to his channel down in the description for you to check it out. In the demonstration, I might not have been able to successfully conduct the rotation, but I'm sure you've kind of gotten the picture on how it can run. This is currently the team that will help Kokomi shine because you cannot swap her for any other Hydro character. Reasons being having her E skills having a very long duration uptime with a lot of AoE Hydro applications. Team number 2, we have Kokomi, Yae Miko, Albedo, and Zhongli. This is what we consider to be an AFK team. It's currently very expensive, running 4 5-star characters. You can still slot Official into Yae Miko's place if you haven't got her. However, you literally will be doing nothing in this team and your enemies will still get wiped out of the battlefield. By using all of their E skills mechanic, these characters all have access to very high off-field damage numbers, mainly Albedo and Yae Miko, and all their skills will trigger on their own. So without you moving a finger to do your normal attack, enemies is like in a minefield constantly getting their HP sapped. Unlike our SuperaTom team, this team is technically the easiest Kokomi team to run right now because as the name suggests, it is an AFK team, but also you don't have to think much about the rotation either. You're just setting everyone's E skill up and then use their burst whenever possible. Kokomi in this team can run as a sub DPS or Thrilling Tales to buff Yae Miko or Zhongli's burst if you want to. This team is also powerful in that it can go up to against practically any type of enemies in the abyss, even shielded enemies, so it is a very comfortable team to run. Now, if you've enjoyed the video so far and you are new to the channel, then I just want to say that we will be doing a character giveaway once we hit 10,000 subs. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to do so and join our Discord server where I will be holding the giveaway. We haven't got a lot of participants yet, so your chance of winning is pretty high. With that, here is our third Kokomi team featuring Kokomi, Fischl, Beidou, and Kazuha, or Sucrose if you don't have Kazuha. This is a taser team that you can run. It is very effective and much easier to run than SuperaTom. Fischl and Beidou here for electro resonance as well as helping Beidou's burst constantly up, so in a way it can feel a bit similar to our AFK team because we're having a lot of off-field damage going on here. We have Kazuha here for elemental damage buff and swirl. It is better if Kazuha is able to swirl electro because both Beidou and Fischl will be your main source of damage. However, Kokomi in this team will generally have more on-field time, so you can run her as a DPS character using her burst also, so that if Kazuha swirl Hydro, that will still be quite beneficial. With this team, if you're running Kokomi with Thrilling Tales, then here's going to be the rotation. We first start off with Fischl's Q to Kazuha's QE to Kokomi's E, and then to Beidou's QE for snapshotting, finally back to Kokomi's Q for burst damage, and then after that you just keep on repeating the rotation. Team number 4, we have a perma-freeze team with Kokomi, Ayaka, Shanhe, and Kazuha. Or if you want a budget team for free to play, then it can be Rosaria, Kaya, and Sucrose. They work in very similar fashion, but since it is a free to play team, you will have to focus on building a lot onto your Rosaria and Kaya for more consistent damage output. This team is very powerful and it is also considered a top tier meta team that is similar to Morgana team with Ganyu, Diona, Mona, and Venti. But for me, I just feel that with Shanhe on the team, she will help you a lot better with clear time as she is a niche cryo buffer and she does her job absolutely amazing, buffing Ayaka with Kokomi keeping your enemies in place while Kazuha swirling cryo, buffing your elemental damage even further. This will help Ayaka to almost always take your enemy out in one burst rotation, or if you're in the abyss then it's realistically going to be only 2 to 3 burst rotation. For this team, you will need to keep in mind a bit of the rotation, with it being first Shanhe's QE to Kazuha's QE to Kokomi's E, and then to Ayaka dash to EQ. Here's going to be a quick demonstration.
Do your master's bidding. Transfiguration. Clouds high. The birds call. Hold the line. Take flight. Kamisato out. Sumetsu. Transfiguration.
The village knows me.
Personally, at this point in time, Permafreeze and Mono Cryo team is still one of my favorite team to play, especially with Shanhua now on the team, helping your clear time a lot better. Plus, Permafreeze constantly keep your enemies from running around and attacking you, especially if you're dealing with those wolves in the abyss. Team number 5, we have Kokomi, Bennett, Xiangling, and Sucrose. This is a vaporized team comp for Kokomi and she fits in vaporized team very well. This team is a go-to team if you're running a sub DPS Kokomi because with Xiangling and Sucrose swirling pyro, you will have pyro application a lot onto your enemies. Then we'll have Kokomi doing her burst damage dealing vaporize, which is further enhanced when having Sucrose on the team, giving you a ton of elemental mastery. Now, since you're relying a lot on Xiangling and Sucrose for pyro application on time, you do want to have the energy recharge on a higher level so that they can have their burst up constantly. And you do want to take notice of their rotation as well, first being Bennett's QE, to Xiangling's QE, to Sucrose EQ, and then to Kokomi's EQ. Here's going to be a quick demonstration. And then after that, you just repeat on the rotations. Now, Kokomi is definitely a fun character to play. I have found myself using her in almost every single runs of my Abyss. And with these 5 teams option for you right here, I'm sure you'll be able to find some good team for Kokomi during the Abyss. However, if you're a free to play and is having trouble with the Abyss, then you must check out this video right here where I go through the top 5 absolute free to play teams that clears the Abyss 2.5 with mostly 4-star characters only. With that, I wish you a super day and I will catch you on the next video.